Strike a Chord, music chit-chat with your host, Valentino Kikowski. Welcome to the Strike a Chord Podcast, and today we have Stefan Nocevski. Stefan Nocevski, welcome to the Strike a Chord Podcast. A pleasure to have you here, and a pleasure to also have played with you in the past. Welcome.
Thanks, Valentino. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine. Now let's get stuck right into it. You're a Balkan trumpet player, so
yes, that's correct. Yeah.
You have been playing for a long time from a young age, but you also are very prominent here. You're very popular as a trumpet player here in Melbourne. I know because I'm part of the community as well. So, and I've had the pleasure of playing with you as well. Tell us a bit about how you got into the trumpet, because it's a very unique instrument. It's a beautiful instrument. So let us know how you got into it and everything like that.
Yeah, it's actually I started when I was quite young. I come from a musical family similar to yours, and growing up, all I remember was I was always surrounded by musicians. You know, like I said, my family musicians. So I just grew up playing with this instrument, with music, and so I started when I was really young. Went to a music school as well, and that's how everything really started.
With the music school, you started music school in Macedonia, because how old were you when you came to Melbourne?
So I was 17, 18 years old.
So you would have done your high school there, music.
Pretty much, yeah. So I started studying music during my primary education. Then after that, I did high school music school. I went to a high school music high school in Macedonia, in Bitola. And
just for everyone, Bitola is where I come from. It's my city. So you went to my city to learn music.
Yes. I went to a really good music school.
It's
Bitola.
one of the most popular music school in Macedonia, I think.
It is. Yeah. It's a quite good school. There is a lot of good teachers there, and the education is great. Yeah. I learned a lot from that school actually.
So when you came here, obviously you had a bit of a culture shock. And you came into, you were 17, so you were still in high school? Did you finish high school here?
Yes, I was in high school. When I came here, I was year 10, I think. And then I went to high school here as well, in Melbourne. But to be honest with you, I didn't like it because there was not much music involved into the school. Yeah,
it's a different system, different program, different system.
Program, definitely, yeah. And then I instead I went to a music school.
Yep.
Enrolled myself into a music school here in Melbourne.
And that was at
that was at Melbourne Polytechnic. Yeah. And then after that I enrolled into the Bachelor of Music program.
That's right.
At Melbourne Polytechnic, and that's how everything really started here in Melbourne.
Were you doing gigs while you were still at high school, like most of us?
Yes. So while I was in high school back in Macedonia, I had the opportunity and the pleasure to be playing with my dad's band back in Resen. Persidi, the name is the band is called Persidi. So I was playing actually during my high school studies.
And then you continued here.
And then I continued here, yes.
With your dad and your brother, yeah?
And my brother as well, yes. And then after that, here in Melbourne, I met a lot of other musicians, you know. And then I just slowly build my my network.
Yeah, and your rapport.
Musicship and all that, yeah.
With I remember the first time I met you was at Open Studio, and you were playing. You were playing with I think it was a Serbian band then, or was it?
I think it was Tanja Bosak.
No, was it?
Yeah, I think it was Tanja Bosak's band.
It was Tanja Bosak's band. That's right. It was.
Yes,
it
I
was.
remember that now. Yeah, that's how we met. I think you came with your dad.
Yeah, I came and I tapped you on the shoulder. I go, you must be Macedonian because of the trills that you were playing and all the stuff that you were doing and all the Taksim and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said to my dad, he's got to be Macedonian. He's got to be, and yeah, and that's how we
Yeah,
met.
that's how we met actually. Yeah, that was when was that? That was probably
That was 2015.
2015. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it feels like a long time.
Yeah,
now.
it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then we started contacting after that, and then we did a couple of gigs at Polytechnic
Yes, yes.
for your recital.
I think we did a gig somewhere in Melbourne here.
Yeah.
In some venue, I can't remember now. And then I invited you to come to play for one of my performances.
That's right. That's right.
Exams and recitals as well.
That's right.
And
And you got a really good mark. Not that I had anything to do with it, but you got a really good mark.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. You know, it was a good experience.
Yeah. And then after that, you actually, I mean, your regular work is with the Macedonian wedding bands.
Yes, definitely.
But
yeah.
you also branched out and you actually play with other bands as well, not only the Macedonian bands. You play with, was it the Seducophones?
Yeah,
And
there was few other bands that I was part of, and I'm still part of those bands. Yeah, so we actually performed in venues here and festivals
Yep.
around Melbourne.
that's
yeah.
right.
One of the band was Woohoo Review.
Yep.
It was quite a well-known band here in Melbourne. Yeah, it was different experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was-
it's a different, it's they're different bands, but you take your style wherever you go.
yeah. I was going to say that actually. So it seems like that this style, this Macedonian way of playing, is quite recognized here in Melbourne. You know, people love to hear this
Yep.
kind of, as you know.
Yeah,
You know, we had a gig
just the other day.
the other day, and you know, a lot of people loved that.
Yeah,
So yeah, it seems like it's quite popular here in Melbourne, you know, and I think in whole Australia, people just love to hear this sound, the rhythm, you know.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's a sound that everyone can relate to, whether you're Macedonian
Yeah.
or you're a different nationality. The sound of the trumpet is one thing, but the sound of the person playing it is a different thing. So,
definitely.
and your playing is very technical, you know, and you can notice the trills. They're very specific to the Balkan region.
They
you
are,
know?
they are. You kind of have to grow up with that
Yep.
in order to play that, because it's kind of like a language, you know. Yeah, it's
Yep.
like dialect or language
Yeah.
that you have to learn in order to get that the proper way of playing.
So
you know?
when with your technique, what is your approach? How did you? I know you probably would have been a bit young, but when you were growing up, was there any turning point that you saw? Oh, okay, hang on, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that because it actually is an improvement on my playing.
Yeah.
Did you notice any of that?
I get this question quite a lot actually, and it's one of those things that you can't really answer.
Okay.
This question
Because it happens gradually?
because it's you just grow up with this music, with this language, you know, if you want, and you just learn it, you know, growing up listening to it. You know, you start very young, and then during that time, during those years, young years, you early years, you kind of just
You develop it.
you develop and you just naturally get it somehow, you know. And then I think when you're older, it's hard. It's much harder to learn,
to grasp
you know.
it.
Yeah, to learn that the music. I think every kind of music, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But when you're specializing in
When you're specialized, especially when you're specialized in this, with this music, I think it's a bit hard because there is a lot of details, you know, in the trills and the ornamentation. So I think it takes a lot of.
There's also quarter tones in our music as well, which is
There is.
reflective of the gypsy and even the Turkish music. because
Turkish music.
we were
definitely, yeah.
we were a
have
big
influence.
we were influenced.
Yeah,
we were
we were.
on the Turkish rule for a long time, so there
Yeah,
is those quarter tones which you play beautifully, you know,
Yeah,
and those
yeah.
quarter tones are representative of the Macedonian culture, you know, those quarter
It
tones
is,
and those
yeah.
things, but playing them is a different art, you know.
Definitely, yeah, we have our own way of playing those ornamentations.
Yeah.
I think I think Turkish music is really they're really up like they're really how can I say? It's a big part of that music.
Yeah, it's
but
an influence.
It's but for us, we have our own way
Of course,
doing that.
of
yeah,
course.
so-
And as I said, it's
and
only
we
an
are
influence.
special,
Yeah,
it's
of course, it's only an influence.
It's only influence, definitely. Yeah.
When you're playing with other like woodwind or other trumpet
Brass.
players, and what is your approach? How do you how do you play with them? Like in the Macedonian music, you got, even in the old Balkan music, you got clarinet. Sometimes you got the
Saxophone,
tuba.
yeah.
Sometimes you got saxophone.
Brass
You got your
bands, yeah.
whole brass bands. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
what is your approach? How do you work within that? What is your tactic there? What is your approach?
You mean when
Like-
I play different kind of music, or
No,
specifically when I play
when you
this
play with
music?
these musicians,
Yeah.
like
so,
if you've got a clarinet player,
Mhm.
how do you approach? Do you listen to what they're playing, or if the saxophone player is doing something, how do you know to harmonize them? How do you know when to harmonize them, or
with the Western music or with Balkan music?
no, the Balkan
With
music.
the Balkan
Yeah,
music.
with the
Yeah.
wedding band.
With
you
the
know?
wedding band. Yeah.
Because
So
they harmonize in thirds, right? A lot.
of course, yeah. We kind of just you just kind of read each other and we pretty much go with the flow.
Because
but
there's no charts.
There is
there's
no charts.
there's
With our music, there is
nothing.
no charts.
Yeah,
Yeah. You learn a lot of things. You memorize a lot of things. Yeah.
memorize.
A lot of memorizing. Yeah. So
Yeah, and that
that's-
can do your head in sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we just get used to. I think it's a practice. You just kind of yeah.
And when you're playing, because I've heard you play with different styles of musicians, how do you find playing with those musicians? Do you find that you need to take a step back, or do you find that you need to pull back on your playing to actually play with them, because it's a different style, right?
Yes. You're talking about the other style.
Yeah,
or-
the other styles. When
Yeah,
you're playing,
yeah,
you
it's
need to
different.
pull back.
So the good thing is that I'm actually classically trained musician.
Well,
I studied classical music in,
Yeah.
in Macedonia and here as well.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I kind of know how to adapt
Okay.
to other
Yeah.
kinds of music as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
So-
that's very important, because
yeah.
when you're playing, and it gives you the opportunity to play with different people and it's not only one
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
You're capable of playing other
So
styles.
yeah. So like I get opportunity to play with other people like non-Macedonian background.
Sometimes people get stressed or they get anxiety when they play with them, because they're worried about how they're going to play their style within the band style. But I've seen you play, and I've heard you play, and
Yeah.
and you are quick to adapt, and you
Yeah.
listen. You listen to what's going
well,
on.
You have to. Yeah, you have
You
to.
know?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, you went a few years ago. You went to Guča, yeah? For the
Yes, I
festival.
went
That's-
to Guča. Yeah, I went to Guča with one of the bands that I play here in Melbourne, Opabato Balkan Brass
Yeah.
Band.
Now, just for everyone, Guča is one of the biggest brass band festivals in the Balkans. It's probably the biggest one.
It's probably one of the biggest festivals in the world.
Yeah,
brass
that's
brass
brass
festivals.
festivals.
Yeah, definitely.
And
It is.
Stefan went and played. So,
Yeah, we
and-
went. We had the opportunity. So that band, in that band, we have actually myself and Dusan only, Balkan background.
Yeah, that's
people.
right.
So the rest of the members are all from
Yeah,
Australian.
but I think Roscoe's got a
Background.
bigger background than you guys. He loves he loves that. Even though he's an Australian Anglo, but he loves
Yes,
it like to the max.
So I just want to say that we're very happy to see this. When people from other nationalities have the interest to actually play this music.
You feel
know.
proud.
We'll
you know?
feel proud and we'll feel very, So yeah, it's a great pleasure to see this.
Of course.
So-
and you want to play with those people.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience to play with this kind of people,
That
because
appreciation.
yeah, and they love this music, so it's and we all went there in Guča. The whole band went to Guča, and it was quite. It was great.
Yeah. You
experience.
obviously you've gone back to Macedonia a few times since
Since we moved.
you moved.
Mm.
How do you find the music there, and how do you find it? How has it changed in the times that you've gone back?
It's hard to say because I went there only for short period.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say for me. But I think it's been pretty the same. I would
Pretty
say,
similar, yeah.
pretty similar. It's nothing really changed.
Yeah.
There is always great musicians. You know, there is some great musicians from the new generation.
Yeah, and you get to go and see your friends and
Yeah, we got hang
know?
out with my friends. I had always when I go there, I have great time. You know?
yeah.
Hanging out with my friends, playing some music. You know, doing few recordings. Yeah,
That's it.
it's a great place.
In terms of your projects here and what you're doing here, give us a bit of an insight on what you're doing. What are your projects? What are you working on at the moment?
I'm part of few bands here in Melbourne. I can say that I'm a freelancer. You know, I play with lots.
Because you're very busy. You're playing nearly every weekend.
different kinds of bands. In terms of projects, I have few ideas that that I'm working at the moment. One of them is with you.
Yeah.
Something that we recently just started. You know.
Which is combination of Balkan trumpet and flamenco guitar. So
Yeah.
we had a mini concert a couple of weeks ago. It was actually really good.
It went really well actually. Yeah. That was for the boîte. It was.
That's right. It's with the boîte.
With the boîte, yeah. So it was good. So that's something that we are working on towards, me and you, and I'm quite excited.
So am I.
To see what we can do and to bring these two cultures together, Balkan and flamenco,
and the two instruments. It's challenging. It's not easy. It never is, but it's great nonetheless.
It's getting slowly.
It's getting there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Definitely, yeah.
With your knowledge of music, what apart from the Balkan music and apart from the Macedonian music, what other music sort of is of interest to you? I know you were classically trained, but what other sort of music?
Classical music has been always one of my favorite styles of music, and I always practice classical music. Always do that. Fundamentals, a lot of fundamentals exercises, and I'm very dedicated to that music, I can say, because I think it helps me a lot with my playing in general. Yeah,
the fundamentals. That's
the fundamentals. Yeah. Like long notes and playing compositions that are quite requires a lot of concentration and a lot of how can I say,
the dedication.
Dedication. You have to be very precise with that, and I think that's really important for me. Yeah.
So when you're rehearsing, the first thing that you rehearse classical music and then go.
You mean practicing?
Practicing. Practicing on your own when you're rehearsing at home on your own.
So every morning before I go to work, I'm a music teacher, so I go to school every morning earlier.
Yep.
And I make sure that I get to practice at least 1 hour to 2 hours every morning. Before you start work. I think that is very, very good to practice in the morning. And I always start with fundamentals. So I always start with long notes, lip slurs, all these trumpet fundamental exercises, that really help me.
And does that give you the stamina? Because I know when we're playing together, you have a lot of stamina because playing the trumpet, I can see it's not easy. You need to have the aperture. You have to have the capacity in your lungs. You have to know how to breathe. You have to know that sustainability you have to have. So
definitely,
does that help with that?
It does help a lot. Yeah, I had a great teacher in Macedonia who was teaching me a lot of great stuff about trumpet, about all that breathing and technique. Non-pressure system technique. Yeah. So when you play the trumpet, it's very important for you to be able to enjoy, so not to have the pressure and tension.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of trumpet players up there who play the trumpet, but they really have tension when they're playing the trumpet, and that's kind of it's for me. It's very important to actually have that good technique to be able to enjoy playing the trumpet, and
because you'll burn out otherwise.
Otherwise, you burn out, and you don't really have fun when you have the pressure and the tension.
It's like that a bit with all instruments. If you're playing with tension, you're not going to be able to play. If I know when I'm tense, sometimes I can't play the guitar. It's my fingers don't move. But when I'm relaxed and I know that I'm on that fluid journey, it works.
It works, definitely.
And sometimes that happens at performance when you tense up. Whether you're nervous or you'll have some performance anxiety and you have to quickly switch your brain to playing mode.
Definitely, yeah.
You know, just play. You know,
Mhm.
instead of worrying about who's out there and what's happening. You know, so
Definitely, yeah.
I know I've had the pleasure of playing with you, and it's
Me too.
it's a pleasure because things happen straight away, and you know, if we're working on something or we're working working out an arrangement, things happen quite quickly because
It
we
does.
know
it
our
does.
instruments,
Well,
we know our art. It's very easy with you. So
Mhm.
you know, if we're gonna do it from here, all right, bang bang bang, this is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's start arranging. This is the structure. Bang on to the next one. You know.
Definitely. I mean, we both coming from same background, you know.
Yeah.
You played Macedonian music
Yeah.
growing up,
Very years
you
ago.
know, years ago, you
A
know.
lot of years ago.
So we kind of read each
Yeah.
other, you know,
And that's very important, especially in the Macedonian music, where you read not only Macedonian but in all music, but in particularly in Macedonian wedding bands, you need to read a lot because there's not a lot of bands do rehearsals, and if you end up like yourself freelancing with a lot of bands,
yeah.
you know the songs, you know what they are, but you don't know when things are going to happen, so you need to read a lot. So you're doing
Definitely.
a lot of eye signals, or
Yeah, definitely.
you know,
yeah.
you know, for your improvs and
Definitely,
you know,
have to kind
intros
of
and all of
kind
that.
of read you know, the situation. I guess I think with every style of music is like that, you know.
Yep.
In every gig, I think for everyone it's kind of like a surprise,
Yeah,
and that's why we love it, you know.
that's
You go to a
That's
gig
right.
and always something new
yeah,
happens.
something happens.
and
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah,
And that's that's the beauty of it. Sometimes you know
beauty, yeah.
something happens, it's not quite there, but then something will happen where it's right there, and you think, oh, you ride that wave for a bit,
Definitely,
you know.
yeah.
And especially
Definitely.
in the Macedonian, you know, weddings and gigs, there's a lot happening. It's a very big thing, and there's a lot of energy.
There is, yeah.
You know.
We love to party.
Yeah, they love to party, but so do the musicians. The musicians have a lot of energy as well, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And they're the
yeah.
ones who actually make the wedding the way
Definitely.
I see it, and the way because I
Definitely,
know I've played it before. But
Of course, yeah.
if the musicians aren't giving that energy and they're not doing anything, then you know the guests, they can see it. Whereas
course,
you know if you're giving them, like when you go down with with the trumpet to the dance floor,
to the dance floor,
and
yeah.
you got the side drum, the tapan and stuff like that,
Definitely.
and that just brings a different energy.
Of
you know?
course, yeah. It's the music makes it definitely, you know.
But as well as that, you have to know exactly. You have to know what's going on. Not everyone can just go and wing it. You know.
have to know, yeah. And everything comes with experience, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know?
of course.
You learn, you know.
Sometimes you learn on the job.
You learn on the job sometimes.
You know?
Of course, yeah. But yeah,
Your dad also plays, and your brother. Are they still playing?
Not now, not at the moment. Yeah.
Because your dad was a teacher. He's a music
My dad
teacher
was
as well.
he wasn't a music teacher. He was actually defense and force teacher.
Oh, okay. I thought he was. I thought it was.
No.
There's
he
something new. I
wasn't.
learned something new today.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have this subject here in Australia.
Yeah. It
It's
was.
like kind of like army.
Yeah. The army subject. overseas.
Subject. Yeah. In
The army
Macedonia.
subjects. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a teacher. Yeah.
When you're looking at what you've done in the last 5 years, right? Is it 5 years since you stopped Polytechnic? Has it been 5 years?
Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 years now. Yeah,
So
it's been that much. Yeah.
do you feel that you've taken a big leap forward in your career?
Definitely. Actually, I learned a lot of stuff during my bachelor studies at Melbourne Polytechnic.
Yeah.
So I met a lot of people and I learned a lot of things about music, you know. And that helped me a lot, actually, you know, to be able to be musician to grow and to be musician in this city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you finished your your schooling and everything, and because you sort of you finished and you continued to do gigs, you didn't go into teaching straight away. You didn't.
Yes, that's right,
was that on purpose? Was that intentional?
Yeah, well, actually, maybe it was on purpose. Yeah, I wanted to really, play as much as possible.
Live.
And and I did that, and then after that, COVID came,
COVID, that's right.
and then and then I got into teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you finding teaching now? Are you, because is this your first year teaching? Is it
It's
second?
Second year teaching.
How
yeah.
are you
It's
finding
my second
teaching?
year.
It's a different thing, right?
It is different thing. Yeah, actually, I really enjoy it. Actually, to
Okay.
be honest, yeah, I really enjoy teaching. Yeah,
Is it high school?
it's high school and primary school both. So
Okay.
I teach both. Yeah, and it's been great. Yeah, it's good. To pass the knowledge to the next generation. I'm quite passionate about teaching as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I love it, and it's a good balance as well between playing and teaching, performing.
It's
and
a
teaching,
different dynamic too. You're giving
It is
different energy here.
Yeah,
Different energy there.
Yeah, but you're involved
Hmm.
with music. You have your instrument in your hands when you
That's
teach.
very important. That's very
And,
important.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good. It's hard work. I have
Mm.
to say. It's not easy.
Nothing's easy.
Nothing is easy. So, but
It's just different. Hard.
It's different.
you know?
Yeah.
Do you have any plans of recording anything in the near future, Stefan? Any albums or
I
anything
do.
like that?
Definitely do. I have, like I said, I have ideas, and eventually I want to definitely record something. Potentially, I'm planning to go back to Macedonia next year and maybe record an album. But also here in Melbourne, I'm planning to definitely do some recordings, potentially with you something as well. Yeah.
At the moment, the Boat is putting together something like a
Showcase.
showcase program,
Mhm.
showcasing yourself.
Yeah. So we're gonna
How-
be part of that.
Yeah, how is that working?
Showcase.
What are they doing? What
Yeah.
is it
So
that they-
basically, I think that all the people they were part of that portfolio project.
Mhm.
All the artists are gonna get together, and we're gonna have we're all gonna perform
Okay.
at one venue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
that's-
I think it's gonna be
that's-
great.
And
you know.
that's obviously this year, yeah?
Yeah, that's sometime in October,
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna be part of that, and I think that that will be great experience.
How are you finding, because now it's a different kettle of fish. It's different. It's not, you're not playing at a wedding, but you're showcasing now, and it's a different atmosphere, different people, different audience, different.
Yeah, different.
How
audience.
are you finding that?
I think it's just different experience. It's just different kind of gig, and I enjoy it, to be honest. It's more like just different kind of vibe
Yeah, it's a
and
different approach. Yeah,
different approach. Yeah, I love them both, to be honest with you. They're just
course.
different. Yeah.
you just want to play the trumpet. That's
Yeah,
it.
we all just
That's
want
all,
to
we just wanna
play.
play the instrument.
And
that's
when
it.
like it's people just love music.
Yeah.
In our community, I have to say that people really love music, and
Of course they do.
they're
always
really
have.
really supporting us, and yeah, it's great to see, great to see that. I feel proud
Yeah,
to be part of this community,
of course.
and
And
so-
it's even better when you see the Macedonian community come to another place where there aren't a lot of Macedonians and they come to see you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
they
it's not
do
just
sometimes,
at
yeah.
a Macedonian gig or a wedding.
yeah,
They actually making an effort to come and see you in a different setting, in a different
Definitely.
world.
yeah, and they come.
And they appreciate it.
And they really appreciate, and we really love to see more people coming
Yeah,
to
I agree.
these kind of shows.
I agree. I reckon.
To enjoy our music. I think they will love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no doubt for that.
Well, we've got some plans to do some gigs and do some
Definitely,
concerts very soon.
yeah, I'm looking forward. to
So watch this space; it'll happen. But look, it's always a pleasure, playing with you, Stefan. I know there's
Same here.
a generation gap, but I think the music closes
No.
that gap, and we're there for the one thing, and that is to
Of
play
course.
music.
No, definitely.
play it,
Yeah.
As good as we can, and provide that energy and those sounds to the public as well.
Definitely.
You
No,
know?
it's like I said, it's always a great pleasure, you know.
Yeah, and
play with you.
you've got a big future ahead of you, Stefan. You're definitely on the right path, and you have what it takes, and you have the right mentality. So just good luck with everything.
Thanks.
I hope you are at that point that you want to be. One day.
Yeah, hopefully. Long.
Look, thanks very much, Stefan. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
No worries.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Same
I'm
here.
sure we'll have another podcast soon.
Hopefully in Macedonian.
We will
Maybe
do it
next
probably
time.
Macedonian for the Macedonian community, of
Why not?
course. Yes.
Yes.
But look, thanks once again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Valentino. Thanks.
Want to also thank Yesteryear Revival, the production team here as well, and Cake Eclipse for these lovely cakes. And stay tuned for a bit of a jam with Stefan. Zdravie. Cheers. Hope you enjoyed the Strike a Chord podcast. Be sure to visit valentinoflamenco.com to access more podcast episodes, news, and other projects that I'm currently working on. Thanks for listening and watching.